Oh, we finally got our circle back.
Well, yeah.
You know what that means, John?
There's a couple times I had to do this without you guys. It was a little weird.
Rude, dude. Rude. What were you doing?
This.
Doing what?
We're about to masturbate.
Yeah.
But it's without you guys. It felt weird.
Well, now we're all back together, and we get an actual proper circle jerk in here on the Freedom Friends Master Debate. Justin
argue without eye contact.
has topics for us, but apparently there's something Justin wants to talk to us about before we get into our topic. Is that correct, Justin?
So I found this, I think, in scrolling on fucking TikTok or something, and I was just like, the guys are going to love this. So it's well documented on the show that we all like watching hockey. And football, at least for me, is very entertaining. And someone married the two of them.
Oh, this is amazing.
So this is
I've seen this
fun,
before.
the American ice football. And I need this to go big.
Oh my
time.
God, they're not even on skates?
Yeah.
No,
They're not on skates.
they're in bowling shoes.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking in.
Right.
look at this.
Look at
This
Threw
is
an
like watching
absolute
toddlers
dart.
play soccer.
Yeah.
Look at him run.
threw an absolute dart.
Oh,
Hey. So once they
Oh.
eat shit, then it's like two-hand touch or what?
I think it's tackle.
I think they have to
I'm
go
pretty
down.
sure it's tackle. Look at it's just boop. Great chest pass.
So
It
in,
was a great
in,
shit.
in football,
Hands to the face, though.
in football, I always questioned the side pads. You know, the hip,
Oh,
hip
yeah.
pads. Here, I can
Makes
see where
sense.
you would really want that.
You need all the pads.
Yeah. Yeah, I would just play this game in a fucking bubble. Oh, incomplete, bro. Incomplete.
They just run.
The refs on skis, I appreciate that.
Yeah, the refs are on skates. They got to see shit.
Oh, look at that.
Buddy.
They didn't even let
Oh.
these guys have like the.
I want to see the extra point.
Ooh,
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
I
How
want
do
to see the
they,
extra
how do they
point.
fucking kick this? Is
It's
it
like
for
it's like
regular
from the
people?
goal line.
They have cheerleaders. Only like
They
four of them.
fucking should, dude. These guys are hard as woodpecker lips.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Guys, it wouldn't be the Freedom Friends if we didn't talk about our number one sponsor, Warfighter Tobacco. Obviously, you guys have seen us all smoke them. We're here to talk about a quality product that everybody can enjoy. The great equalizer, as we've called it, the Warfighter Tobacco Stick. And it's not just cigars. They've got humidors, travel humidors, cutters, lighters, everything you need to get started on that journey. Check out warfightertobacco.com and use that code FTFO. Score yourself that sweet, sweet 15%. If you want to know my personal favorite, I'm a 762 Field guy. I like that Sumatra, real nice and even keeled cigar. Great for us beginner smokers, right? And I'm told that these taste even better when you're listening to the Freedom Friends podcast. Now, back to the show. This episode is brought to you by Grill Your Ass Off. It's no secret. We're all middle-aged dudes who love barbecue. Grill Your Ass Off is our main go-to for our spices. That's what we use, man. Whether you're doing burgers on the grill, steaks, or my personal favorite, a little bit of pork belly burn ends, right? They've got you covered on all of that. They also have salsas. They also have seasonings and spices. They got beer salts. They've got everything, man. Check them out. GrillYourAssOff.com/FreedomFriendsPodcast or use the code FreedomFriendsPodcast at checkout.
I thought y'all had to see this. Oh,
Here
they
we go.
kick it. I haven't even watched
With
this.
no defense?
Yep.
Oh, they don't need it.
Oh,
Hey.
he stood there. He didn't know running start to kick.
And then, and then the
ref
fucking ref
drops.
knocked him down.
Oh yeah.
I love that they're.
They should at least give them like those bobsled shoes.
Yeah, like
I love
spikes or something.
You know what? I'll bet you like this was started by a group of friends, and they were just like, "No, tennis shoes. You have too much traction."
This was dudes who couldn't afford fucking hockey gear. And they were like, let's just play football. Fuck.
No, I think these are hockey players that got shit faced one night. And
Or
were like,
that.
Fuck it. We're getting bowling shoes. We're playing football on ice.
Oh, that's a fumble.
You just have to have a sense of balance, not any real talent.
I like to think this originated in like Minnesota.
For
on a
sure.
lake. Yep.
Yeah,
There's
on a
definitely
lake.
somewhere.
The guys like pulled all the snow off but couldn't afford skates. And they were like, we'll
Have you
just
ever watched How
give
I
them a
Met Your
gear.
Mother?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know the game that the brothers play in
Oh,
Minnesota where they just
yes.
make all the rules up and it's like, well, if he punches you in the face, that's actually 2 points.
Yeah, that's how this started.
It's sponsored
is
by Mira Pet Food.
This is a fucking blast, man.
You know, none of these people actually sponsor this.
He's
game.
got a flea flicker. Oh shit, there was a flea flicker. Look at the slowest flea flicker in fucking history. For the first down. Fucking A. He's still up. He's still up. He's fighting. And he's down. Shit. Fucking A, way to fight for
He's
that
like,
first down, pal.
down.
I've never
He's like,
watched.
fucking, yeah.
I've never watched.
As he falls. Whoop.
I've never watched a sport where I thought to myself, I would play this. I would play this.
I could compete with these guys right now.
Right? I feel like with no training, I could actually.
I mean, this is a pickup game on ice. It's so much fun, dude.
This looks fun.
Just watching him try to.
Are those
move.
real people or are they cutouts? Bro,
Right.
those are real people in the stands. Shit.
Oh,
Look
dude,
at-
I
look
would
at how
come and watch.
excited
Oh,
he is.
he's right up the middle. Right up the middle. The linebacker was like, "No, today."
Saquon Barkley of ice football?
Fucking A. Unfortunately, he ran into fucking Ed Reed back there. Gunk, it just dropped an
Drop
elbow.
the people's elbow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the dude before him just yeeted.
For
himself
those
in the air.
listening, it takes longer after the play for everybody to stand back up and get into
It
position.
does.
Yeah, there are no hurry up drills in this sport.
Damn, that's game. Look at that.
all 14 minutes of it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is all streamed on YouTube. There's
That's awesome.
The RTL American Ice Football.
there are 4 cheerleaders in that guy.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
I had to show y'all that.
Yeah, this
I
looks
had
cool.
to. I need that.
You know what's wild? All those sponsors are German.
Nissan was not.
Okay. all the websites on all of those billboards said .de. So
Yeah, there's
Yeah, und Gutscheißer.
yeah.
Nothing happened at the ice football game. Nothing happened. They closed all the doors in that arena.
Vacuum.
It's a posh vacuum inside. All right, Justin, what you got for us this week,
Seals
pal?
up like ice football.
all right, boys.
All right,
boys.
I want to know, what did you want to be when you were a kid, and what changed your mind?
Oh, that's a great question. It's a great question because I think everybody had that thing.
Yeah.
And I will preface this: if you had multiple stages, what were those?
Yeah.
So do we like go off of what we dressed up for like Halloween?
No, like what as a kid
Or-
you were like, oh, I want to do this when I grow
Well, most kids dressed up as what they wanted to be for Halloween.
up. Then yeah.
Mikey dressed up like a fairy one year.
I know, right? Well, obviously,
That's
you
why
know,
he's like-
dreams do come true.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say I wanted to be a cop until BLM became a thing.
The Bureau of Land Management, what the fuck they have to do with anything?
It was all about being a cop until Black Lives Matter showed up. No, I did. I wanted to be a police officer. That was
Yeah.
my big thing. I respected them. I thought it was a cool job and all this.
But you carried that all the way through when you got out because you got your criminal justice degree.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Which was weird because I was a fucking felon in high school, you know? So it was like, I got to see both sides of that fucking system, right? But yeah, that was my big thing. I wanted to be a cop when I was a little kid. And I guess what changed is I evolved into what I am now, and I know me. And I know that I don't have the patience to be a police officer.
that's a fair statement, sir.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have the sarcasm. I have the required sarcasm. I do not
Yeah.
have the required patience
for
it.
the small town or small time like traffic violation, you would be hilarious.
Sure.
I would love to be pulled over by you.
Yeah, but the second somebody's like, I'm recording you, I'm going to be the first cop in history to go to jail for choking someone to death with their own fucking cell phone. And
Just hit Mikey with the camera. I'm recording. He was like, cool, I got a tight 10 for you. So
let me hit you with this Type 5. All right. Nowadays, yeah. But yeah,
You
that's,
heard of midget strippers?
let me tell you about midget strippers. They're great. I don't know. How about you?
Well, I wanted to be an army guy, right?
Sure.
So I did that. But then when I got a little bit older in my youth, like probably 10 and after, I wanted to be a pilot. So I still kind of do. So
We're still waiting on that.
yeah, there's that. So
Yeah, flute.
Was it like a Air Force fighter pilot or like commercial?
you
or-
know, I wanted to fly something, right?
you just wanted to.
So
fly.
I think it was my 14th birthday. My mom, either my 12th or 14th, I can't remember, took me up for an airplane ride for my birthday, right? Little Piper.
hell of a gift
Yeah.
right there.
No,
Oh, yeah.
and I've done it to all my kids when they turned about that age where they'd appreciate it.
Nice.
Took them up in a Cessna or whatever, right? And yeah, that really, after that, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But the Army guy kind of squeezed in, and like even when I was in the Army, my plan was to become a warrant officer and fly. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, then war happened.
Fucking war. Thanks a lot, terrorists. God.
Right? Couldn't have waited 3 more years.
Thanks a lot, Bush and Cheney. Ugh.
I really wanted to be a pilot though pre-war when we were yelling bang at each other out in the back 40. Like I really wanted to do that warrant officer thing.
Laser tag and fighter jets. That sounds fucking awesome.
So
right?
he'd go be a pilot and just run around and go whoosh, 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 whoosh.
Just a bunch of dudes walking around a field going whoosh, 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 whoosh.
He's the
whoosh,
A-10 pilot. He'd be like, coming in for gun run. Bird.
You see Scott at a dead sprint, just bird,
Have you guys ever
bird.
have you guys ever seen a blank adapter for an A10? It's pretty sweet.
They actually just put him on a bike. He'd be on a bicycle. Everybody else is walking.
With the broomstick.
Bird.
Just come. His helmet just has wings on it. He's just like, I'm a gunship. Boom, 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 boom. He's just running across the field.
25 Mike. Bum, 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 bum.
It's just a bike with one of the Nerf machine guns on it. Fucking-
Oh, yeah.
He's
Hell
got a
yeah,
lever.
dude.
When he goes to shoot the gun, he just puts the baseball card in the spokes. Just takes the back out.
Yeah. Guys, why are you guys making fun of Marine Corps training tactics? Goddamn.
No, you guys, your airborne school is just a poncho liner tied to each wrist and each ankle.
That's just called a party during a typhoon in Okinawa, bro. Fuck. We actually had to tell guys, hey, don't do that.
It doesn't work. Like you got to tie the neck first, so
Yeah.
the hole isn't in the middle.
Yeah, don't do
Johnny, I'm a squirrel Snyder. We know what you did.
Yeah.
Don't do that shit again.
It definitely does happen. It definitely happened. Jazz, how about you? What was your aspiration as a child?
I I wanted to be an aeronautics engineer.
Yeah.
I wanted to design things that flew.
Yeah.
And I wanted to design parts for the space station.
Yeah.
But to do that, you have to start with like basic aeronautics, and then you have to.
Yeah.
No, really?
I assume there's probably
But,
something going on there.
What do you
Yeah.
mean? I mean, it's different. Why do you need to know about flying in an atmosphere when that doesn't exist in an atmosphere?
It turns out that there's actually not a lot of carryover. Like when you need to understand, like
Just because you have to go through the atmospher to get to
Yeah.
the where it's not.
yeah, but we do that with brunt force. Like,
Yeah, that's
we
just-
don't even
yeah,
fucking-
like
we're not even,
bigger
like,
rocket.
All you need is 8 miles per second. You're good to hook.
You ever seen what we launch into
We
space?
just need
We're
a
like,
bigger
but if we
rocket.
put it in a highlighter with enough boost,
It's fine.
it's like
fine.
well, shit. Some of our current fighter jets and stuff like that, it's just like they're not super great at like flying, but their thrust is so fucking high that it turns out if you put enough thrust on a brick, it'll fly too. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, just point it in that general direction.
Again.
all we really needed to do was make a steerable brick.
Look at the
Put enough
A10,
thrust
dude.
on the bitch.
The
Just a
wing- the
gun
wing-
that flies.
The wings can be a lot smaller.
but an
if you're
A10
going 100 times faster.
I feel like
Yeah.
if an
It's a lot.
You
A10
only
lo-
need
like-
one little flap.
if an A10 loses power, you can still control it.
Because it has
Sure.
actual wings, but
Right.
when you look
like
at
a
like the
F-22 or
35 the
35
22
loses
and stuff,
power.
It's like
I think
yeah,
that's
that
it.
you ever seen those things lose power and they just kind of go, oh shit.
It's brr,
Yeah,
boop.
they start spinning.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I wanted to get it, and a lot of it was I was fascinated by the physics.
Do you think jet engines have similar like when you're launching off a line in a drag car, the V8, every vehicle pulls similar, just because of the rotation of the engine,
Yeah,
the
no,
torque,
it-
the whole nine.
So
It does not.
Does a
No.
jet engine do something similar? Like,
no,
do they have
and
to
the
counter?
reason being is that your torque application. So your torque application is going from forward spin across a flat plane, which is always going to twist the object attached to the torque plane
Yeah.
in the same direction.
Yeah.
Propulsion thrust is strictly linear. So that's why you'll see them squat, but they don't twist. But in a drag
Yeah.
car, anything where you have to actually, you are applying
Yeah.
friction to a surface.
Well, in a jet engine, you have fans that spin, but they're spinning in opposite directions of each
Yeah.
other.
Right.
But they're not required. The friction isn't required for the
Right.
propulsion.
I've never
It's
sat behind a
strictly-
jet engine, so
Well,
I'm not sure how it
well,
operates.
It has to
You-
do with
you-
the forward momentum.
You bring
So
up the
there's-
drag races, right? But the most famous one is the semi truck with the big ass jet engine.
yeah,
Yeah, that thing just goes straight.
Yeah,
Like,
But that is still providing power to the spinning wheels.
no, that's all.
No,
Oh
that's
no,
just
that
a
one's
jet.
straight thrust.
Yeah.
Straight.
But yeah, so
I think
if you
it's
notice
neutral.
all of them, because all the wheels have to spin forward,
yeah.
that's why they all pull in the same
Right.
direction. Thrust is just thrust, like it's just forward. You don't need that friction base for the
That's
propulsion.
backwards sometimes.
So, but Yeah. So
Yeah,
I always thought the physics of it were kind of phenomenal. And then you have laws that you can essentially, that are now known as effects. We no longer call them laws.
Yeah.
The Bernoulli effect. It's not the Bernoulli law anymore. It's the effect, because we can outthrust the law.
Yeah.
Like you can essentially put so much power behind it that whole like needing higher
now
pressure
is
over
is it a gravity effect then?
Well, I mean,
Well, then you have thrust vectoring, right?
Yeah.
So they take the nozzle of the thrust and they can
Yeah.
point it. So yeah, I mean, you get
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
aids with steering and all that kind of stuff. That's how we get vertical takeoff and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, that kind of stuff. Gravity is a law, but gravity scales. So that's the deal, is that if I'm providing more thrust
Yeah.
than the effect of gravity, the law of gravity is still there, but it can be overcome. But you can bring the effect of gravity up so high
Yeah.
that you can't overcome it. And that's when you end up with like black hole structure and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like you can't, but that's gravity at the level that, you know,
Where
it
light
affects
can't
time.
escape and shit. Yeah.
It can.
They recently learned that.
So
Yeah.
black holes have actually, we have images of black holes now ejecting matter.
Yeah.
They've essentially ate so much that they're vomiting.
Or is it just coming from the other side of the
Oh.
black hole? Yeah.
That we don't know.
Well, black holes are actually spheres.
Yeah.
So arguably, well, yeah, it's
Well, if things
a hole
disappear
of
in it,
three
where does it
dimensions
go?
is
If it disappears into it, then it's got to go somewhere else.
yeah.
So
Well,
if it
it's
came from
compressing.
somewhere else, it
John's
goes up
thinking
here.
fourth dimension right now.
Yeah,
You're,
well, so-
you're stuck on the third.
I'm not. I'm not.
He's
So-
thinking wormhole technology.
So the fourth dimension that you would actually institute is time. That's actually
Yeah.
so arguably what you're seeing when it's coming out, it's not coming from the other side. It's compressing to the point that it can no longer hold anything within that compression, so it's injecting it back out. So it is the same light.
Post spaghettification.
It is the same, which only affects physical matter. Things like
Correct.
photons, we can't compress to the point of non-existence.
Correct.
So a photon could be compressed to the center of a black hole and then ejected. So it is the same photon. So we do know that energy can't be destroyed or created.
Mhm.
It all exists. So even if you compress it, the energy doesn't go anywhere. So if it ejects it and we are seeing light, that was light when it went in. It's now light when it's coming out.
Yeah.
Or it could be mass that was then
And you're talking
broken
about
down
shit
to
like-
base things of energy that's now ejecting photons.
And
But
this is
it's-
shit that they've only discovered in like the last, year and a half?
It's a
ish?
little longer than that. It's just getting more popular now. Nobody really knows about it till like Neil deGrasse Tyson comes out. And
Well, we,
fucking says something.
we didn't have a picture, an actual
Yeah,
photo.
the new
until, like,
telescope.
last
The new
year.
telescope is pretty fucking. Fun.
And that's because it's taking pictures of light in a different wavelength.
There you go.
That
Yeah.
we can't see. So
Right.
So that is a black hole actually ejecting mass again. And so that is it. And so even if it was mass when it went in, it can get broken down and compressed to the point that you're just dealing with pure energy now. Energy expressed is always going to come across as light. Now, whether it's visible light or not is
Could be infrared.
could also be ultraviolet. Like there's
True.
multiple scales of light beyond the visible light spectrum. But that energy has to go somewhere. And so to his point, maybe it's just coming from the other side of the hole. More than likely what's happening is it goes to the center and then gets kicked back out.
Yeah. Or it's getting
So it's,
spun around it so fucking fast.
Or it could sit in there so long that it eventually
Yeah.
ends up you could end up with such a gravitational sling effect that it could spit it back out.
Yeah.
We don't know what the fuck happens in those things. So all of it, anything that I
gravity's-
would
'cause it's
guess
still-
at right fucking
Send
now.
a fucking Elon. Send a spaceship. in
it
there,
still
man.
warps
And,
fucking space time.
Yeah, I mean, it warps
Yeah.
everything around.
Yeah.
The only way we can actually find black holes is that we can see what it's fucking up around it. It
Mhm.
warps space around it. That's how we ID them. We actually look for space being fucked up, and then
It's like, that's weird.
we know it's in the
That
middle.
doesn't, it's not supposed to look like that. Yeah.
What is it? It's a black hole.
Well, it's like dark energy. They just call it dark energy and dark matter because they don't have, it's a placeholder name. They don't know what it's actually called.
Well, it's
like, you know, like-
non-visible, so but we
Yeah.
know there's more of it than there is.
Like light bulbs don't
Real
produce
regular
light.
matter,
They
yeah.
suck
Like-
darkness.
But if you want to read it, if you want to get down a really weird rabbit hole when it comes to physics, there is now an argument that we are already in a black hole,
Really?
but because
Soundgarden
because of
told us that a
time
long
dilation,
ago.
we wouldn't know that we were in the black hole.
That's interesting.
And because of all that light would still be heading towards the black hole, because as it
Well,
travels,
it-
would
it-
still be pulled
it
towards the
hurts
black
a lot
hole.
less than I imagined.
Well, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And so, but our sky space would still exist because all of that traveling light, which is all we can measure, would still be pulled towards that gravitational point. So we would still have the star canopy that we have because that light, as it's traveling, would still be pulled towards that same point. So
Technically, our entire galaxy is surrounding a supermassive black hole.
all galaxies are.
Yeah.
That's why they spin.
That's why they spin. And eventually,
But we're the only one that spins. We have a unique rotation. Ours spins opposite of every other galaxy. That's why they're saying we're already in a black hole. We're
We must
seeing
be
it
in
in
the southern hemisphere.
yeah,
So, yeah, we're in the southern hemisphere of our black hole.
we're also going to collide with Andromeda at some point. Might have already did it.
We would, yeah. But if
would
we're
be-
in the black hole already, then it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
I liked the physics of flight, and then beyond that, I liked what it took to maintain our ability to operate outside of standard rules.
Yeah.
See, I like the feeling of flight.
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
I like the.
I also wanted to be a radio DJ, which we kind of fucking do. So
Ooh, I never had an aspiration to do that.
I did.
Yeah.
I did at one point.
Well, I mean,
And
him talking into a mic, the voice makes sense.
It's
Yeah.
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I also wanted to be a professional drag racer, but that didn't work out.
I wanted to be a research scientist.
For what?
Gravity. I think I succeeded on it. I test it every day. Yep, gravity's on.
Top notch research, pal.
Nailed it.
Top notch.
No, I wanted to be, at least as far as I dressed up for Halloween, I wanted to be either an army guy or a pirate. That every Halloween, that's what I was.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to drop an application to piracy.
Yeah, it really wasn't like
It's
an
probably
easy,
pretty
clear
easy.
path for that.
I
so.
disagree, man. Just hang out down in Somalia.
Not in Minnesota.
Meet up
Oh,
with
fuck,
some
actually,
crews.
You know what I could have? I had the prime location when I
I'll
lived
say
up
the
there.
lakes were.
I could have just all the Somalis that live there. Be like,
Yeah,
hey
dude.
man,
I guarantee you, they got a cousin.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shit, I fucked up.
I think
Hey,
you're too white.
have you seen that thing about the Russian company that will
Yes.
take you down to fucking
I saw
to
that.
shoot Somali pirates?
Yeah, they charge
Remarkably
$7,000.
inexpensive.
It's right. It's weirdly affordable. And
That's like the price of
they
a
put you
normal
on a-
cruise.
They put you on a Modus, and they're like, maybe they'll show up, and if they do, you can shoot them. It's like, fucking say less, son. Like, dude,
One reason
Remarkably
I
affordable.
have a little bit of admiration for Russian citizens because that's cool.
that is pretty dope.
Well, yeah, it's not Russia.
No,
It's not like the country of Russia.
but I think as
it is a
I-
ship that is birthed out of Russia.
Yeah.
I relate to Russian people,
But the
quite
fact
a
that
bit,
it's
I think.
the fact that it's on a
It's
luxury yacht.
$5,800 a day.
It's an extra 5 pounds a day for an AK and 7 pounds for 100 rounds of ammo.
That's-
Protected by a squad of ex-special forces troops. What, like Spetsnaz or our guys?
Probably a handful of both.
This is
Yeah.
from 2009.
Yeah. You know, it wouldn't
Good to
be
see
hard
they're
to
still in
do.
business.
You have to flag your yacht and your business in a country that has very loose laws.
Well, and so this is apparently a Russian luxury yacht, but
'Cause
it's
you're
flying out
essentially
of
international water.
but it's flying out of
read
Djibouti.
read the bottom paragraph.
They are worse than pirates, said Russian yachtsman Vladimir Mironov. At least the pirates have the decency to take hostages. These people are just paying to commit murder. Fuck you, nerd. Like, God damn.
Yeah. Would
so-
you murder your potential hostage taker?
Go look up.
Yeah.
It's called self-defense.
Go look up where the term piracy actually came from. The Somalis actually aren't pirates; they are kidnappers. We call them pirates because they're doing it on a boat.
Piracy just it means it's coming from privateers.
Privateers was legal piracy,
That was legal piracy.
but that was literally you could go and take vessels and their booty for the crown.
Mhm.
But if you took vessels and their booty for yourself, you were a pirate. If you did it for the crown, you were a privateer.
Right.
So they don't take the vessel or anything on it. They just snatch people. This is about like getting carjacked. It's like Mexico.
Yeah.
But we don't call them fucking highway pirates. They're just kidnappers.
Oh, we
It's
should.
the difference between honestly, it's the difference between a contractor and a mercenary.
Yeah.
A mercenary does it for personal monetary gain.
So does a contractor.
They do it for the greater good of their country, sir.
Sure. Sure.
But do you want me to stand up for him or no?
I was one of them, and it was all about the green, dog. Like,
If it was for the betterment of his country, he would have stayed in the Marine Corps.
Well, I wanted to.
Well, yeah.
No,
When they told me no more, it was
he
like,
became a
fine.
contractor.
Now
Now
it's
got to do the
contract
same
time.
thing, got paid more.
Yeah.
But he was still doing it. The reasons he was doing it for, it wasn't solely monetary.
Yeah, it was. Do you think if they'd have told him you can stay in the Marine Corps, but you're going to be nothing but a gate guard for the rest of your career, he'd have been like, yeah, fucking I'm in.
So I guarantee you in the back of Mikey's
But if they're
mind,
paying me $300 a day to do a gate guard,
in the back of
that's
Mikey's
different.
mind, right? The appeal of being able to go back overseas to potentially do what he just did and also getting paid a shitload more money, that was the appeal. If it was like, hey, you're going to go sit in this bunker underground and get paid $800 a day.
Okay, so I like this
Or
discussion.
you can get paid $800 a day and potentially go shoot motherfuckers in the face.
I like this discussion a lot. Are you willing to let us have this conversation without you getting, like, if I play devil's advocate on this?
No, yeah.
This
by all
isn't
means.
a- you're
Well,
just-
I'm not a contractor anymore, so
Right,
yeah, go
but-
ahead.
Since you are a handy subject
Sure.
for doing that.
Yeah.
So, sure. Or is it lack of options and that was familiar?
That's pretty,
No, I mean, I guarantee you
That's
that
pretty
the lack of
accurate.
options.
Lack of options, familiar, and
But-
it pays really well. Okay.
What I'm saying, though, is
it's kind of
I mean-
a layup. It's kind of a layup job.
Yeah.
You know,
what I'm
like-
saying, when you have a guy that could potentially re-enlist, or he could get out and be a contractor, 9 times out of 10, they're going to get out and be a contractor.
Right, but we don't have a situation here where he had the option to re-enlist. They literally said, look, broke dick, you're fucking done.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but John,
Correct.
my argument is the same point you made. Look at all the tier 3 guys that got out to be contractors to make the money.
And they
To
voluntarily
do the same job.
Yeah, but
they're doing
no-
the same mission,
Yeah, but
essentially.
I don't think it's for the betterment of the country.
I wouldn't really say betterment of the country, but they're not. It's not for solely for their purpose.
Well, I
Like they have a bigger
I
picture in
don't
their
know.
mind.
no, I think you might be wrong. I think if you're a fucking tier 1 operator and
Okay,
you
okay.
decide I'm leaving this,
Yeah. Okay. Now
And I'm
let me
becoming a
put you
contractor
let me
because
put
it
you in a scenario.
pays.
Let me put you in a scenario,
All right.
and then that'll dictate what you think the answer is. On
Okay.
that, right. Let's say you're on an outpost somewhere, right, and you're guarding some high up fucking government dude.
Yeah.
You know, you're on a detail that's protecting an ambassador.
So
It's not
some
like this hasn't happened before.
some POI detail and
Right.
you're
and all of a sudden,
glorified
that embassy gets attacked.
Right.
Right. And you're like, fuck this. It's not worth losing my life for $800 a day. Do you fucking lay your shit down and walk off? Or do you fight literally to the death to protect what your mission is? Because that
Yeah.
means it's not for fucking you anymore.
Like, okay.
If it's for you, when shit gets rough, you're like, fuck this. I'm not dying. I'm taking my $800. I'm fucking out. Then you drop all your shit and you fucking walk off. That's
Yeah.
when you do it 100% for your personal gain.
Yeah. No, I'm tracking. What
So
yeah.
there's people that do that,
Yeah.
but they're not Americans.
But what about the guys? What about the guys that just that's how they get their high is the fight. And it's not about loyalty or the good old red, white, and blue. It's just
But
this is what gets my rocks off, and they pay me well for
They're
it.
completing the mission. So it's not just
Yeah,
about
I
personal
see what you're
monetary
saying.
gain.
Yeah.
You know, like the mercs are like the hired soldiers from other countries in Africa that just go around killing people to fearmonger. Because when shit hits the fan, they turn down their weapons and they walk off. Oh no, I'm not losing my life for this. I'm just here to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Ah.
That is a merc versus a contractor is somebody they're legitimately in it for reasons. They're
You're
not
saying-
just in it
you're
because,
saying
oh,
that
I'm making
contractors
money.
have a sense of pride in their work on top of the fact that they get paid well. And then there's the other guys.
They
that are
complete
just-
the mission,
Yeah. No, I get that.
right?
Okay.
And
I just-
ultimately, the mission falls under whatever.
I just don't know if that's necessarily due to patriotism.
Do you remember the?
Because there is very much an American mindset of I'm just going to prove I'm stronger. And if you're going to pay me well to do it,
Yeah.
then-
I see that a little
Do you remember the man dress you borrowed that
Yeah.
you took pictures of him in for
Yep.
that photo shoot? That man dress came out of my go bag
Yeah,
for
You know-
when shit went down and I had to fucking leave.
yeah.
out of
Like,
out of context,
Like-
that sounds like you and I have done some weird shit together.
yes. But
In all
literally,
fairness, you and I have done some weird shit together.
Yeah.
he was
Well,
but-
pickling you with a feather
But
while wearing that man dress. Let's be real.
You know, and it was torture.
it was.
It really was.
Mike, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's always good to have a plan
Sure.
if you're like completely.
But now your plan, right? Let's say you get in a firefight and you're like, you know what? I don't want to be shot today. Do you take your go back and leave?
Yeah.
It depends if it's overwhelming or not. I think
It would depend on the situation.
Who draws that line?
Yeah, no,
The individual.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you believe that, okay, well, this is fucked. We're not making it through this. Do you take your go back and leave, or do you
I don't know
have
if
a conversation?
I don't know if I would have been able to do that given.
So
me
that
being
and that's
me.
why you're a contractor, not a mercenary.
But I will also tell you though that if they would have been like, hey, there were contractors out there, there were contracts that were offered to us, or they were like, hey, we're going to pay you fucking $167 a day to do this job, and I'm like, that's $14 an hour. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? And they were like, yeah, but you'd be doing this cool guy thing. Don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I don't get off the couch for less than $300 a day, bro. Sorry. You know what I mean? And that's a contractor mindset. But at the same time, the term mercenary is weird to us. Like none of us like all of us kind of know
Well, a
that that's kind
mercenary
of what we
is a
are.
fighter for hire.
Well, yeah.
Like that's
it's
what
we know that's kind of
so
where we fall. But
even if you got a snazzy match.
and the
polo,
definition of
if you're a
mercenary.
fighter for hire.
The definition of mercenary in my mind is I could be hired to do anything, whether it's moral or not, or you know what I mean. Like
that's true.
You know what I mean. Like
We could be bought. Kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like
I mean, technically speaking, all of Blackwater were contractors.
True.
Yeah.
We love to do.
The definition
mercenaries.
of there's the two different definitions of a mercenary. Primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics,
Okay, that's what I was saying.
or a professional soldier hired to serve in a foreign army.
Well, here's the beauty of ethics. Ethics is a fucking very vague, defined word.
No, now we're gonna get into
The definition of ethics is what you think is right and wrong.
Yeah, but okay. Say you were hired by X agency,
but
right?
not based on Kantian ethics.
Say
It's still what you think is right and wrong.
say you're looking to become a mercenary or a contractor or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And you do a little bit of research into the company that you're going to go work for.
Sure.
And in their history, in their history, they've gone and just killed villages as a whole because that's what they were paid to do.
That's probably more mercenary style.
Yeah. And it's probably not something we would do, right?
No,
Like,
no.
Right. You know,
Yeah.
So I think
No, I mean that's the thing. Like American companies, we operate off of a SOFA agreement and things like that. I mean, they're still fucking
Well, because it is still supposed to be that you were supposed to be operating as a ad hoc military unit.
Well,
You were expanding capability.
that.
yeah, but you're
that,
technically a subcontractor.
right,
more
but
than
you were
anything.
you were still a
that and a contractor is never really offensive.
No, it's
they're
all
almost
defense.
always
Right?
It's all defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in
That
my
also
mind,
falls with the Geneva Convention.
well, in my mind, a mercenary can be an offensive.
more
branch
like Geneva
of something.
suggestions. Am I right?
And typically it's because a mercenary fights through a country that doesn't either care or fall under
Right.
Geneva Convention.
That's true. That's true. Like there, and
So
and
in
I
order
know
for
some
you to be
guys
a
who-
mercenary, you're like getting paid by Russia.
I know dudes who did it.
You know what I mean?
You know, like there's a Sri Lankan company.
So,
that
but there's a
does
difference.
maritime, and I
Those
was going to
cats-
get involved with for a while. They literally do piracy, fucking security,
Yeah.
and that
All
those
those
guys.
American cats that were getting paid to go to the Ukraine,
Sure.
they were getting paid by a foreign force
Yep.
to go and fight.
That's probably more on the mercenary side.
Oh,
It
that's
is.
based on what he just pulled up. That is the definition
It
of a
is.
merc.
It is.
And so I don't care if you want to say like that's because he was fighting for what was right. That was a dude getting paid by a foreign country
Probably a lot
to
too.
go fight.
If he was doing it for what was right, money doesn't matter.
Well, like I know dudes who did Project
None of them
Dynamo,
volunteered.
right?
They all got
I know guys
paid.
on Project Dynamo who would go over there and they were looking for like doctors and shit that were in Ukraine. They were trying to get the fuck out, and they'd go in there and get them, and they'd move them out and shit like that. Like I know guys that were doing that, and they were getting paid really, really well to do that, you know. But again, their specific mission, they weren't over there to fight a war. They were over there. They were gonna fucking grab this doctor, protect him on the way out of Ukraine, get him into Poland, get him the fuck out of Dodge, so he can come back to America and continue to be a doctor. Right,
That's
type
more
of shit.
defensive than offensive.
That
And you-
yeah,
And you still have to look at how broad the term contractor is.
yeah.
I mean, like none of the food over there was done by military
KBR
personnel.
is
That shit
fucking
was all
contractors.
military contractors
Sure.
that were being flown into war zones
Now I believe that the term
to make grilled cheese.
there's a difference
Like,
between
that is-
contractor and private military contractor, because that's what we are.
There was a lot of
PMCs.
Pakistani
We're private military
contractors.
contractors.
Yeah, there was that too.
So
I knew a guy here
those-
that was in huge debt in San Antonio
To us,
and
those are
left and went
T-
to Iraq
those
for
are-
3 years straight and did food,
Those are TCNs.
paid off all of his shit back
Yeah.
home, and then came
Yeah.
back after he cleaned up.
Those are TCNs. Third country nationals.
Yeah.
That's like I had Gurkha guards that worked for me. Those guys were mercenaries in their own mind,
Yeah.
but they were just our fucking guards.
Yeah,
man. They
but
were
part of the U.S. mission over there too was to empower the local population. So
Sure.
you'd bring in Afghani contractors.
Yeah, I had
in the
Afghani guards. So
Iraqi contractors.
like when I
you
ran
guys saw them all, the ones that they were trained. Or we're going to make a police force.
hence the term green on blue.
Holy shit!
Well, like I had 95 local nationals under me, 30 TCNs, and then fucking like, what was it, 25 Americans.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when I was the PM for the contract. That was my thing. I had like, it was like between 85 and 90 at any given chance of local nationals. Those were just local Afghanis who were on guard duty.
So I think, John, what you're trying to say is there's a fuck ton of contractors,
There's not that many mercenaries.
but then there are
in the United States.
there are mindsets within the contracting community that could redefine what you would consider them.
Typically, those guys don't last long.
No,
Because
they don't because
follow
there is.
direction. And
No,
they're
they
like,
get-
yeah,
they get fired.
you're done.
You gave up the uniform
You know.
for more money, but it is still the structure of.
It's
you
it's
still
the
have a
same
commanding
thing.
officer. You
Yep.
still have all
Exactly.
of that, and if you're not willing to, if you didn't have military discipline in the uniform, you don't have it
No.
out.
That's
The
why
way
you've
it's-
never heard me refer to myself as a merc. One, gay, but two, and
But
also
it's,
inaccurate.
it's legitimate. It's just not what it is by definition.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
agree.
mean?
I agree.
Like,
with
you can't look up the definition of a mercenary and be like, yeah, contractors totally fall under that 100%.
But I'm sorry, if you're a contractor,
No, there's
shaped a
exceptions to
mohawk
every
in your
rule.
head,
You know what I mean? There's
You're that guy.
exceptions. There's individuals that might have different motives,
Sure.
and they could potentially fall under that, but they typically don't last long.
Well, like I worked with a guy, for instance, my talk bitch. All right, he was my intel guy that worked in my talk.
Yeah.
Right, that guy had been a contractor since the beginning of 03. All right, and this is 2015.
Yeah.
All right, dude was a millionaire, and he worked for me.
Yeah.
and he had an apartment in Ukraine. He probably doesn't anymore.
Well, he might
But-
Oh, he
still,
might.
but it's
Just hasn't
not
been
there.
to it in a minute.
Yeah, right? Like, he had an apartment in Ukraine that his Ukrainian girlfriend took care of. He had a house in America that his American girlfriend took care of. You know, like this dude, he was a legit expat.
Yeah.
Right. He had been expatriated, you know, and although he did get a check from an American company, so did my TCNs, so did my Afghanis.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he was like on that. Like he like, yeah, I got a social, but
I met a guy over there.
Eh.
He was working for KBR, I think. And this is the second deployment, but he was just our gate guard, like a interior compound of our base, right?
Yeah.
And I got to bullshitting with him one day, and I'm like, man, how long you like? Tell me about what you do. And he's like, oh, I work for so and so, and I make a shit ton of money, and I'm married to a chick who works for the same company that does logistics. And she's deployed with him. They shared a chew.
Nice.
And he's like, yeah, we're going to do this for like 6 or 7 years and then
Yeah.
fucking
the lesbian couple that worked for me,
and make a ton of money.
that was their plan. They were just saving money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they couldn't keep dicks out of their pants. So, you know, eventually that marriage broke up. But yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Weird.
They weren't, I guess, a couple of them weren't as gay as they thought they were, you know?
You
So,
just need to
yeah.
agree on the dick and then
One of them sucked an Afghani dick, and I was
Ooh.
like, judging. I'm judging.
Oh, yeah.
I'm judging.
No.
Never as gay as you think I am, just as gay as I need to be.
Facts. Can confirm. Can confirm. But
Why are you
Justin,
shaking your head?
I was
Justin, how
thinking
about
about
you,
the
man?
lesbian stuck in Afghani stick.
it's fucking
And I was
heinous,
just like,
isn't it?
you know, like there was, you know, by like month 10 or 11, there's a couple girls in northern Iraq in like the Christian Catholic areas that you look at and you'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then you think about it and you're like, yeah, she probably hasn't showered in like 2 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm all set. Thanks. Like,
Oh, dude.
good.
This
good,
dude fucking,
good.
this dude fucking stunk.
We
Oh.
would need a long, hard spa day.
Yeah,
before-
no,
before,
there's just,
He was
I
one-
see
he
the
was
way
one of
my guard shifts are set up and the way
Yeah.
your hygiene is, that this can't work. We don't have enough time to be able to do this.
He was one of my terps, so I had to sit in a car with this guy for hours on end sometimes.
Yeah. And imagine-
Deodorant was not a fucking thing that
imagine
he
sucking his
used.
dick.
No, thank you. That's why when I found out she did it, I was like judging. I'm fucking judging it. Like it was literally like she pulled him into her
What
room
if she's
on her
in
way
that?
out the
We
door.
don't kink shame here.
Fuck, I might on that.
That's not a kink. That's just
This is gross. Dude, you sucking chogy dick is gross, bro.
That's a hygiene.
Yeah, that's a hygienic issue, dude. Justin, what was your dinosaur when you were a kid, man?
I also was like, oh, I'm gonna go be in the army, and fucking thank God I went into the National Guard. And honestly, after that, I was like, I don't know fucking what I want to do. And then,
Knowing you, if you'd gone active component, you'd have been a lifer.
unfortunately, you're probably right, but luckily,
You would have been a great,
Oh, he'd been great.
combat correspondent.
so there was a
Because I worked with a couple
Yeah.
in my 10 years that I was in. I met
I fucked
like,
one.
I met like two
He was good.
She was hot.
and they were
He even showered.
it's a cool job. I think
the last year of my contract, I was like, if I stay in, I'm not going to be a grunt anymore. And I was going to go like combat camera. I had a buddy at the old company I worked for who was combat camera. And then I was talking on like Instagram with a dude who now is like one of the photographers for the White House or something that I got to meet at AT one year, and he was going to put me in contact. And I was like, but I think it was a 6-month school or 8-9 month school. And I was like,
it's not just point and shoot.
yeah,
You have to write another.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is
absolutely.
like, even if you had gone active component infantry,
Yeah.
I think you'd have been a lifer.
more than
I think
likely.
you'd have-
I don't know. I was a lifer when I joined.
Maybe.
Like shit changes.
Maybe with
Yeah,
all
but
the
he's
COVID
way
shit.
more responsible than any of us are.
That's true.
Very
Which is
true.
probably he would have changed his mind a lot earlier.
But I kind of floated in that like I fucking don't know what I want to do, and I got a camera in my hands, and I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, as long as I do something that involved at some point I get to throw a camera in my hand, I'm about it. And Yeah.
Does any camera company make a mil-dot lens? Because that would be funny photography that I could get behind.
No.
nah,
Fuck up the focal plane. No.
you can Photoshop one in.
Yeah, you can just put one in, but
Yeah.
But I want to see it as I'm taking the picture.
I mean, most cameras now there is a grid in it,
Yeah.
but it's not a mil-dot grid. It's,
Speaking of cameras and shooting, I saw this video. This guy set up a camera downrange and then shot long range at it.
Yeah.
And you could watch the trace of the bullet incoming.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that.
Which I was like,
I-
whoa.
man, I would have to trust that shooter so much.
Yeah.
I have
No, he like just set a camera.
I have
and adjusted.
I have in person seen incoming trace.
Yeah.
When you're looking at it through a spotting scope,
Yeah.
I've seen incoming
Because I've never used an optic. It's just been me
Yeah.
looking. All I hear
I mean, like,
is
I would
around.
love
don't
to go
see
get
it.
that
That's crazy.
but I would really have to trust the shooter.
Oh, you set a
Oh,
camera up in a
that's
tripod.
That's
Call
a
it day.
tripod's job
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
No. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about them fucking deviating and destroying.
No,
the fucking camera.
you can see
Oh.
you can see trace and it can be
Yeah.
like the trace I saw was it was a ways away.
Oh no, I would want the shot where it like
Yeah.
looked like it was going to impact the
Yeah, I can do that. It's no problem.
like
Yeah.
set it up.
Well,
next
like
to the
if you put a
target, let it-
GoPro,
it'd be a dope shot.
It would be.
if you put a GoPro on a like a silhouette, as long as it's behind the steel,
Oh, I
you
don't wanna
could
do
you
that.
could hit that silhouette.
I want to set up,
and
my
you would
rig
see
where
it.
I
It
can
would
shoot
drop
fucking-
right below the
Yeah.
GoPro.
I want to set up my rig
Pretty
where I can
sick.
shoot at 240 frames a second.
and just get the
Set that
slow-mo on
shit
it.
up and just watch it just come in and fucking.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Because so
we can do it.
like Justin has a
Yeah.
nice rig and I have a nice rig, but mine is video focused. His is like a hybrid focus setup.
Yeah.
And his takes way better pictures than mine does, but mine takes better video.
You just have to
And so
focus.
it's
You have to focus.
So you need one of two different guns to do this. You need one that's unbelievably accurate,
right.
or one that is not even close.
And then you aim directly at
and the
GoPro.
camera's in the same spot no matter what.
That's what I'm saying is I'd have to really trust the shooter because I'd be like, please don't destroy my $6,000 camera. I'd be really mad. So it'd be a cool shot though.
It would be a really cool shot.
You could probably pull it up. It's just type in incoming bullet trace. and see.
Yeah, but that's not as cool as actually getting the shot.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you like being behind a camera, it's about being able to accomplish the
Yeah.
shot. Like that's the.
I mean, you could be behind the camera. I'd just shoot right over your head, and
It's not hard to miss.
no, it's not.
It's actually really easy.
Yeah.
Well, because setting it up, I think you'd actually want
No.
to put the camera below the target.
If the camera's the target,
See,
it'd be easier to miss it than it
Jazz.
would be to hit it.
Yeah.
let's set up this.
Unless
scenario.
I'm good.
I have this scenario set up in my head. So Jazz is holding the camera. My job is to put a bullet over his head.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do,
You got to put an apple on his head.
Why do
No,
all
no.
of your scenarios always end up with you firing around at me?
what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial, I'm going to have it so the crosshair is on Jazz's forehead and then dial off so the bullet goes over.
I'm out.
But I can feel like I can get that whole lifelike feel.
Of,
Yeah.
baby.
Like if I had dialed correctly.
Good thing I remember to dial.
Fuck it, let's do it.
Imagine how therapeutic that would be for y'all's friendship.
I feel like
We'd be so close after this.
honestly,
For sure,
I feel
dude.
like it's
For
equally
sure.
beneficial.
But no, it would be
You know what I mean? Like
it would be safer to do it that way. Like
The amount
I
of-
know the bullet is going to go exactly here. I know I have to be 4 mils above Jazz's head.
the amount
I dial
of
4
relief,
mils up. I aim directly at him. It would be the safest way to do it.
the amount of
Um,
relief that both of you would feel. Because
No, the
Jazz,
safest way is for me to go set the camera up and just hit record and walk away.
Very true.
well, no, because how are you going to record the trace if he's still shooting at you?
Yeah. Yeah. If you leave the camera and you walk away,
It defeats the whole purpose
Right.
of setting the shot up.
I have no argument. All right, let's do it.
and you're
Let's
fine as
fucking-
long as you don't walk toward or away. If you walk linear, you'll be fine.
Serpentine.
This is,
So the amount of relief
this is a
that
fantastic
both
idea.
people would feel after this would be amazing. Like you would feel relief because you sat there and you recorded and watched Trace go right over your head.
All right. This
And
No.
Scott got the
I've already
relief.
done that.
And Scott got the relief because he put the crosshairs on your forehead and pulled the trigger.
I think the relief would become
didn't have
from
to do paperwork.
he had the opportunity to shoot me, and he didn't.
So this leads me to a story. So I think I may have told this story before, but we were at Al-Kindi missile compound and I was up on the gate one time doing guard duty or whatever. I had a sniper rifle and there's these kids would come and fucking steal shit. Right. Well, we caught them and we told them to walk. I said, you have to walk all the way around. I said, I can see you for a long ways away. And if you don't walk around like mile out of the way, right? I said, I'm going to shoot you guys. I was like, oh, you know. And so they go on their little hike, right? And they cut the turn a little too early. I'm like, all right, I'm going to put one at their feet. Fuck this, right? And so I did. Well, I got the recoil. I came back down and they're all laying on the ground. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then they got up and ran. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Now that would be
But for a split
best-
second, I thought I hit 3 people at once.
You're like, oh fuck, I just wore crap.
that would be the best joke ever is if we set that shot up and he took it. And then the recoil and he goes and acquires the target again.
And you're on the
Camera's
ground.
over. And on the ground. And he's just like, shit.
Now, there's a lot less recoil with the blue rifle.
He doesn't say a word. He just starts like packing up the bipod, puts it in the bag.
One of these.
Nobody knew we were here.
Well,
Scott walks into the office. I was here all day.
podcast's gonna be weird on Tuesday. Shit.
Like that's the third week in a row Jazz hasn't been
Just
here.
stood-
Anybody heard
Son
from
of a
him?
bitch just stood us up. No call, no nothing.
Just no call, no show. And Caitlin's like, we haven't seen Jazz. Where the fuck is he? I don't know. He was hanging out with Scott earlier. I don't know.
They're shooting that video.
I get the camera. I'm trying to pull the film out of it. I'm like, what the fuck?
These things used to have film back in my day.
That would be the first red flag. Scott walking into my office and going, how do I destroy this?
Hey, take the
Do these melt?
take the pictures out of this.
When the hell did you buy a Panasonic? Don't worry about it.
Well,
What
boys,
do you mean it's in the computer?
I think it's interesting that like thinking about where we wanted to go and then where we ended up.
And as a population, as a
Well,
planet, or as
No,
our podcast?
as like what we wanted to be when we were little
oh, okay.
to now. I'm going back to the actual
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
debate topic that we're talking about. And, I think it's interesting. I don't think.
I also wanted to be a marine biologist. Like that was a legit one.
Yeah.
Until I did some research and I was just like, oh,
That's hard.
yeah, they make like 35 grand a year. I'm all set. Thanks.
Now he just goes and looks at him. He's like, look, a fish.
now I'm a marine biologist just on my own terms.
Yeah. It's way easier that way.
What'd you see on your dive? There was a blue
like,
one. And there was a silver one.
I've learned about the things that I actually want to learn about instead of learning about what they teach you. Which
And there
none
was a
of them
long
matters.
green one that bit Mikey. It was the weirdest shit.
Fucking Amore.
He said it was
bro.
electric.
Did you see that fucking video of that moray that came into like the shallows and there was some chick like sitting in the water,
Oh yeah.
like on the
Oh,
beach,
yeah.
like right at like, and this thing swam up and she's like sitting in her like beach chair in the water. This guy's filming it and didn't go like,
Hey.
Hey. you might want to look the fuck out. And this chick just looks over and is like, oh no. And like splashed on the water next to it. And I was like, that's not what you want to do, lady.
Yeah.
And that was a big bitch. That was not like,
Dude, they get massive.
Did
Or
I-
eels-
and they don't come
Well,
out of their
it's
little hole.
big.
Very often.
It's funny. I've always heard about them coming out of whatever they're in, wherever they're hiding, and not attacking, but being
Curious. Yeah.
or
They get
aggressive or
territorial.
defending or whatever.
So they'll come like halfway out and like
Right.
snap.
and so like I know this, and every time I see one, I'm like,
yeah.
where'd it go? Did you guys see it?
we're like in its face, dude. It got like a light in its eyes. We're like, look at this thing, man. This thing's
Like how
fucking
John,
cool,
like-
bro.
Did I send,
run away.
did I send you that clip with the octopus that like grabs the dude's mask and shit?
Yeah.
There's another one that's been making the rounds of a sea snake, which they kill you.
Yeah.
Like they're no bueno.
This one,
And
Yeah.
and literally like this dude was
chicken her donut floaty.
at depth, and she's like, uh-oh. They really don't want to mess with you.
No, the fish, they just kind of like, what's going on
Yeah.
here?
Like, oh, you're kind of in my way. I wanted to go that
all right,
way.
yeah, I'll fuck off now. That's cool.
But this sea snake, this guy's at depth diving, and the sea snake just wraps around this guy's leg, and he's just like, "Huh!" and like totally freezes. He's got his little like his pointer, his tank slapper, and he's got it in his hand. He's just like, oh fuck, oh fuck,
Yeah.
oh fuck, and then it just decides, I'm good, and then it just swims off, and then you see him like,
yeah, I saw that one. I was like, no thanks,
Do you
dude.
see the guy fishing in a kayak?
yeah,
And he just goes like, that's a great white.
yep,
That's a great white. And he just starts paddling and the great white just starts chasing him.
Yep.
And it's like the fin breach and
This
everything.
guy right here.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
guy.
god, there'd have been fucking Hershey's Kisses
Dude.
all in my wetsuit.
I have those same fucking fins.
Whoa.
He did the right thing though. Was just
100%.
like,
I don't know if I could have done that. Like legitimately, I don't know if that would have been my reaction.
but he absolutely did the right thing of just like,
Absolutely.
just lock up and
Keep calm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then
Like all it
get
took
the
was
fuck
one bite.
Hey,
and
did you
game
guys
over.
see where they lowered the black guy in the life jacket in with this huge fucking grouper that they caught?
No.
Oh my
I
god.
think I did see that one.
He's like,
It was one of the Goliath groupers like on the coast of
yeah,
Florida.
I mean, this thing's
something.
like 300 pounds.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking huge, right? And this black guy, he gets halfway in the water. He's like, it's not going to hold me. It's not like he was worried about the life jacket. And then they're like, hold on to the fish. And oh my God, it is fucking hilarious.
but yeah, that one of the dude fishing with the great white.
Yeah.
The whole time he's like, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. And he's just like trying to out paddle this
Like,
great
I
white. And I'm
never
like,
understood that with the guys in the kayaks, and they're like, I'm 11 miles offshore right now, and we're gonna try to catch blub. I'm like, you gotta paddle your ass 11 miles back in.
Yep.
You know how fast weather changes on the ocean?
I watch
Yep.
those dudes
I'm
and I'm
all
just like,
set.
they make these things called charters, my boy.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Yeah.
Fuck
what do
all
you do if
that.
you actually catch what you wanted? Or catch
It's
something you didn't
catch and
want?
release because you ain't fucking,
Yeah, you're not carrying it
and
back.
even if you're towing it back in or trying to tie it to the side and bring it back
Fuck
in, it's gonna be half there by the time you get back.
Yeah.
Like,
Or that
there's-
dude trying to out paddle a great white. I was like, that thing hasn't evolved in 65 million years.
For good reason. Because it's
It's as good
real
as it gets.
it's real effective.
It's as good
Yep.
as it gets. It's like what?
They-
that, alligators, and
One of the kimono dragon.
yeah, I think.
It's like they're like,
It's like 4 animals that like, it peaked.
yeah, this is it. Yeah.
and cicadas.
Those fucking
You can't
dude.
fucking.
Dude, anything that sleeps for fucking 15 years at
Yeah.
a time and then just pops out like, sup, I'm gonna make some noise.
I'm gonna do the shit out of you for 3 months,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna leave a like ghost skeleton hanging in your tree.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go and then all I'm doing is going back in the ground.
That's
go
it.
back to sleep for another fucking 12 years.
Had to
Like,
explain
what
to
the fuck?
somebody. They're like, well, if they only come out every 15 years, how come we hear them every summer? I'm like, well, see, they come out and
It's
they
not
have these
just
things called
one-
children.
It's not just
Yeah.
one group, guys.
Yeah, it's not like they came out one time
Yeah.
and then
It's
was
just
like, all right,
globally, they're like, that's
everybody,
it, we sleep.
nap time. And then we only see
They probably did that once And then ever since then, no, it's all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, the first two did that.
Yeah. It's so fucking funny. Well, boys, I'm going to put a bow on this one.
Yeah,
Cool.
They got a long debate this time. So
Yeah, a little bit of a long debate.
We actually had some good conversations on this
yeah,
one.
for
though.
sure, dude.
I don't remember
Cheers,
what we
boys.
talked about, but yeah, it was good.
I got a little bit of a sippy sip left. Cheers, cheers. Shout out to our Patreon supporters. All you guys are fucking awesome. Neil, he's the Patreon supporter of the week. Appreciate the fuck out of you, pal, for buying the boys and I a drink. Like, share, subscribe, smash those buttons, all those things. 3 little things. They're not hard. Jazz, hit him with the first one.
Fucking smoke on.
Johnny boy,
Drink on.
and goddamn it, kids, freedom to fuck on. Later.